Hello everyone, I'm Oleg and I'm going to talk about why you should upgrade your CPU. This is targeted to anyone that owns a computer, uses it for school, for work, for gaming, and wants a little bit better performance out of your computer. So we'll start out, what is a CPU? The CPU is the brain of your computer. Basically, it gets information sent to it and it distributes it to all the other components. So it is the hub where all the information flows through. And the reason why it's so important is when the information is sent to it, it's random data. It has no sense of ordering or it doesn't mean anything. So what it does is it decodes this code, makes sense of it, and then sends it to all the other components or executes it itself. And the reason speed matters is the faster it will process this information, the faster your computer will do something. For example, show you a picture or make an application work. So we'll start out with how does it work? And the first part we'll look at is the control unit. So this is basically a very simple version of how a CPU will look on the inside. The control unit, the CU, will control all the code that the CPU receives from a RAM, disk drive, USB, whatever it will get the information from. The control unit will have about 8 registers for this simple version. And these registers are here for quick access to the information it receives. It will hold a small amount of information, for example, like 8 bits. Usually in modern day computers, it'll be 32 bits, anything as a word size. And so we'll look more depth into these registers and what they are used for in the CPU. So for the first example, the PC register, program counter, holds the next instruction that it will execute in this information that the CPU receives. So after this address, this code that it receives, it will send it to the current instruction register. And this register, this is where the code actually begins to be decoded. After this code is sent to the current instruction register, the program counter increments by 1 to get that memory address of the next step of the instructions. After the current instruction register starts to decode, it holds the text to be decoded. After the control unit starts to decode it, it will determine if the arithmetic logic unit will be used, which is on the next slide. The arithmetic logic unit, the LAU, basically solves any logic in the instructions, like, for example, 3 plus 4 equals whatever, 2 plus 2 equals whatever. It solves all those, all that logic. And after it solves this logic, it will save it into one of the registers to be transferred back into the instructions. So after it solves it, it gets transferred back to the main set of instructions that it received. So each little code that's been executed, the instruction saves in that exact place. After this is complete, the instructions will be sent to a different component to be executed, or it will be executed by the CPU itself. So we'll now look into the modern day take of a CPU. For example, what's an i7, i5, i9 core made by Intel? So there's a bunch of specific builds of a CPU, and the way you use your computer or what it is built for will matter. For example, a basic i7 core has 4 cores for quicker processing. And what a core is basically what we went over back in slides 3 and 4. This whole control unit, the arithmetic logic unit, is all what it is in each single core. So the more cores you have, the faster it will process. But the faster it will process, the more battery life it will take. So that's a little drawback to why some laptops won't go above i7 and why there's different versions of i7 cores. For example, there's a specific extreme i7 core version, just meant for gaming. And so you gotta do your research to find the right one for you. So if we bring all this back, the better CPU that you have, the more hertz it has, which means the faster it will process instruction that it receives. This results in faster data transfers and faster communication with other parts. And the faster your computer is, well, your CPU is, the faster your computer will decode the data that it will receive. And that's the main reason you would want to upgrade your CPU, because it is the brain that communicates with all your other parts in your computer. Here are my sources, and for any more information, please see my technical documentation. Thank you for tuning in, and you guys have a great day.